Pete Souza Show. We are broadcasting live here from Central Texas, high above Central Texas in the Alico building. We are presented by Salvatrix, and right now it is our pleasure to welcome in Cowboys legend and, of course, Arizona State legend, the great Danny White, all of a sudden so beloved in the state of Texas. In Central Texas now, he's an adversary as Baylor and Arizona State set to lock horns this weekend. What's happening, Danny?
Hi, how you doing, Pete? I'm great. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about playing all these Texas teams now that we're in the Big 12 conference. But it's great competition, and this is going to be a great game.
It's got to be pretty cool for you when you think about that, the Texas flavor. And I know your bloodlines run deep all the way back to your dad with Arizona State football. I want to start, though, by talking to you about your incredible run playing for Frank Kush. He was as no-nonsense as they come. For people who don't know, I want you to think Bill Parcells on steroids, and that's Frank Kush. What was it like playing for a guy like that was so domineering, but held you so accountable too, and I imagine kind of shaped the type of man you've become today?
Yeah, well, he made me a football player. I went to Arizona State to play baseball. Was on a baseball scholarship. Played as a defensive back my freshman year. I only played 1 year of quarterback in high school. So I was pretty raw, but because of him and his style, everybody, you had to be mentally very, very tough to play for him. And a lot of guys weren't. A lot of guys left. 5 quarterbacks from my freshman team transferred. The incumbent quit the first week of camp, and there weren't any other quarterbacks around that had played quarterback other than me. He was kind of stuck with me my sophomore year, and we had such a great team. And he told me before the first game, he came over to me and he said, "Hey, White, you look nervous." And I said, "Yeah, Coach, I kind of am. I grew up watching football in this stadium with my dad, went to every game, never dreamed I would be a football player for Arizona State. And here I am, the starting quarterback my sophomore year." So I said, "Yeah, Coach, I am a little nervous." He said, "I don't worry about it. Just get the ball from the center and give it to one of the other 10 guys without dropping it, and we'll be fine." And that was his pep talk. That was Frank Kush. And we did, and we just rolled in the offense. Woody Green, Benny Malone, Steve Holden, guys like that to get the ball to him. That's all I did was just find ways to get the ball to him. And my career kind of took off. Each year we got better and better, won 3 Fiesta Bowls, and the rest is history.
Yeah, you took the Sun Devils to new heights, right? And then, they experienced some of that again with Jake Plummer, right, and the Pat Tillman teams, and then again with Kenny Dillingham, Ken Scattaboo, and Sam Levitt last year. An amazing run. What was it like for you to see your program, right, that you helped put on the map, ascend to great heights again last year?
Well, it was partly due to the fact that the program had gone through such hard times with Herm Edwards and the previous administration, and so it was just great to come from that, pick 16th in a conference of 16 teams, to end up winning the conference. And I saw that very early in Kenny Dillingham's style, and people asked me to compare him to Frank Kush, which is almost a ridiculous thing to ask, but he does have a Frank Kush mentality of toughness and rigidity in the program, being on time and working hard and preparing. He demands that, but he applies it to a modern day culture in a way that, he's a perfect combination of toughness and leniency and getting along with these guys in this generation. It's a different generation, and just being around them last year, Pete, it was so much fun. It just reconfirmed to me the fact that the game of football is the greatest team sport in terms of synergy, chemistry, locker room, ever created. And that's what that team had last year. They just fought tooth and nail for each other and loved each other. And that took them all the way to the conference championships.
How did you see Kenny Dillingham create that connection between himself and his players, which is what makes, like you mentioned, it's a masterclass in cohesion and chemistry?
Yeah, what he did is he had a lot of events for the players at his home, at other venues where they went bowling together. They did a lot of things together, and they just got to know each other. And these were kind of a bunch of misfits. I mean, they were rejects, if you will, from other schools. Because of the portal, they were able to transfer in. And I don't know if it was just dumb luck. I think most of it was Kenny and his style. He brought them all together as a family, and he preached that to them. And they became that because he confirmed it every day in practice. And he's so positive. And he doesn't say very much negative, opposite of Frank Kush. Frank Kush never said anything good about any of us, but it brought us together in opposition to Frank Kush. I mean, I told a group the other day that if we had lost that game in Mississippi State, we would just be getting to the Arizona-New Mexico line, running back from Mississippi to Tempe to get ready for the next game. That would have been Frank Kush. But Kenny, I went in to see him. I meet with Kenny every Sunday afternoon. And so I went in to meet with him, and you would have thought he just won the conference championship. He was so upbeat. Did you see the way we responded in the second half, the way we ran the ball? He's just a positive guy with a lot of energy, and players love playing for him.
Hey, Danny, how does that happen? That's a pretty cool deal. So does he ask you, as somebody with such great legacy and experience and obviously knowledge of not only the school but the game of football, does he say, hey, Danny, I'd love to meet with you every Sunday? Or how does that come about?
Yeah, you know what? After his first year, I went to a couple of practices. I didn't do much. But I went in to meet with him, and Kenny's an ASU guy. He's from Tempe. He grew up there, so he knows a little bit about the history of Arizona State and my career there. And so I think he respected that. And I just went in and said, Kenny, I like your style. I would love to help if there's anything I can do. And he came up with this idea of, hey, why don't you watch the team we're playing the next week? And let's meet on Sunday after we put the last Saturday night's game to bed, and give me just a report, a scouting report on the team we're going to play that week, and how can we beat them? What do we have to do to beat them? What are their keys? What are their key players? And so that's what we do, and it's been great. I think he appreciates it. He takes that and he goes into his staff meeting, gives them an upbeat report, really gets into it. I mean, and all the strengths and weaknesses, and it's worked out well for both of us. It's been a lot of fun.
See, Danny, that's something that I did not know, but makes perfect sense, right? Like that's another little Easter egg as to why Kenny Dillingham has been so successful. My next question for you, what was the report on Baylor? What did you see? What do you think Arizona State's going up against?
Well, they're playing another good team. This team's got some outstanding players. They're struggling on defense, a lot like we had been until Saturday night. We played our best defensive game that I've seen them play in 2 years. And so defense is getting better. The offense is still struggling, still trying to find its rhythm and get in sync and everybody on the same page. But Sawyer Robertson is a quality quarterback. He's a big senior quarterback, 6'4", 220. And they got a bunch of little smurfs that run around the field that are small and quick, and you better pay attention to them and not let them get behind you. And that's going to be the key for this defense, no big plays. But then they've got a couple of big guys. I've got my notes here. Josh Cameron, number 34, is just 6'1", 224 senior, big, strong, and it seems to be Sawyer's favorite receiver. And then Michael Trigg, who's kind of a hybrid tight end. He's big enough to play tight end, 6'4", 240. Just an excellent receiver and a guy that it looks like Sawyer likes to go to in tough situations. Their defense is struggling. We're going to have to score a lot of points. I think this is going to be kind of a track meet, playing in Waco against a team that loves to put points on the board. I was looking at their offenses. They're scoring 36 points a game, and so we're going to have to put up some numbers in order to beat them. It's going to be a fun game. I look forward to going back to Texas and being there on the sideline with them, and it's going to be a fun trip.
Dude, that's amazing. Getting a scouting report from Danny White is next level for me. I want to ask you a little bit about your Cowboys days, if you don't mind,
Sure.
because that's where you came into my life. I was no offense here, Danny. All right, I'm a Philadelphia guy. Okay, I'm sorry. I know, but I had to.
Should have waited till the end to tell me that, Pete.
I know I should have waited. But you followed Roger Staubach. Like that is, and that speaks to your ilk as a person, or somewhat of your ilk as a person and a player, to be able to handle that. How did you handle that? Was there anything inside where you were like, okay, you just dig deep and find a way to do it? Was there someone outside who helped you? What did that look like for you?
I learned a lot from 4 years of backing up Roger Staubach, but I learned more off the field than really on the field. We had different styles. I didn't go out trying to be Roger Staubach. I just went out to play the game the way I played it. And in fact, I thought there were some things that I did that I did better than Roger. Roger would just force the ball into situation. I would just shake my head on the sideline saying, what is he doing? And somehow it would work out. He would just will the team to victory. And he was, in my opinion, the greatest quarterback leader that ever played the game. So I learned that from him. But as far as the X's and O's, I kind of just went out and played the game the way I wanted to play it. And didn't listen to all that. Every press conference, they wanted to know what it was like backing up Roger Staubach and following him, and how much pressure there was. Guys, there's not a lot of pressure. I'm just playing the game the way I like to play it. And now off the field, his work ethic, his priorities in his life, his family, and his faith, we shared that. And I learned a lot from Roger and his dedication to his family. And so other than that, I just went out and played the way I thought it should be played. And when we had a lot of success in the early 80s, and I'm proud as I can be. It wasn't pressure, though. It wasn't like everybody thinks, well, you had that role to fill. The bar had been set really high, and it had been set high. Anything short of a Super Bowl was not acceptable if you were a quarterback on America's team.
Yeah, but I think that's what makes you unique and you special. And that's why you ascend to the level that you did, because you can stay focused, right? And you can continue to kind of block out the noise, because the average person gets swept up in that. Tell me something about Tom Landry. I growing up, look, I showed you the Eagles helmet, but I'm more an NFL guy, and I was just ultimate reverence to Tom Landry and the Cowboys. And I so appreciated America's team, and it kind of took football up another level. What's something about Tom Landry that the average person wouldn't know that you got to witness and soak in your time in Dallas?
Well, Tom Landry built, you could call it a dynasty. We were pretty successful in the 70s and 80s because he drafted and signed players that fit his philosophy. And that was key to him. I had a chance one day to just sit down at lunch with him and ask him what was the key to his success. And, it was that. And he would pick captains, Leroy Jordan, Roger Staubach, guys like that, Robert Newhouse, Drew Pearson, guys that believed that football was a game of study and, preparation, hard work. We weren't the biggest, strongest, fastest team in the league by any stretch, but we studied hard. We out hustled in the fourth quarter our opponents and things like that, the intangibles that Coach Landry believed in. I said, well, Coach, you didn't pick the captains. We did. We voted every year for the captains. We filled out a slip and wrote down 3 names and turned them in. And so how did you get captains for the team that you thought you wanted? And he said, well, Danny, who counted the votes? And that was, well, you're right, Coach, you counted the votes. So I guess you could have whoever you wanted. And that I think is what made, didn't just go out and get the best athletes he could get. He got guys that fit his philosophy, and I think that's what made us successful.
Couple more with Danny White, and then I'll let you go. Your thoughts on the Big 12 and Arizona State now being a part of it. There's, I grew up and watching at least the tail end of it, and a good chunk. I know the Pac-10, Pac-12, like how special that was. So it's got to be difficult for a Sun Devil to leave anything like that and move to a different conference. But talk about a soft landing. I mean, the Big 12 is just an amazing conference to be a part of. How do the folks out there in Tempe feel about being a part of the Big 12?
Well, they're accepting it. I think it was a tough transition. It was for me at first when I first heard about it. Oh my gosh, Cincinnati, Central Florida. What is this all about? Well, now after a couple of years in the conference, you're seeing the conference start to evolve, and teams are getting to know each other. Teams like Baylor, like Texas Tech, that are emerging as great teams, partly because they're in a conference of like-minded teams. And these teams we don't have one standout. I mean, there are 6 or 7 teams in the conference this year that easily could win the conference. I think that's really good for the conference, and I think it's just going to get better and better as these teams get to know each other.
You make a great point. Like this was, covering the Big 12 and calling some games. Being at Big 12 Media Days this year was the first year in like 3 years where there wasn't a new team. It wasn't like, okay, let's introduce this new team to the league. Finally, everybody was back and there were no changes. And that familiarity, kind of breeding contempt in a good way, is kind of getting there. I appreciate you saying that. Last question for you, because it's an old school Pac-10 foe of yours, Pac-12. The UCLA situation, it seems like this might be rock bottom for them. It's a total bummer because growing up and watching those games at the Rose Bowl when I was a kid, it just seemed like so electric. Is there a solution there? Like who would you hire to be the next coach of UCLA?
Oh, so you know what? I don't even want to go there. I am not in touch with NCAA football on a big scale. I'm focused on Arizona State and the Big 12, and yeah, UCLA is going through some rough times right now. They'll come out of it. They're a quality university, and they've got a lot of powerful boosters, and that's, I think, what it's all about. Sooner or later, they're going to emerge as the force that they once were.
All right, let's get back to Arizona State because I got to ask you about Sam Levitt before I let you out of here. That kid's special. You ran up against a little bit of trouble against Mississippi State, but as a quarterback, what do you see in him that makes him so special? And just how high is that ceiling for this young man?
Well, the ceiling is unlimited for Sam. If he'll work on the mental part of the game, get the ball out of his hands quicker, and that's not all Sam. He's got to have receivers that are getting open quickly. He's got to have play designs that give him somewhere to go with the ball quickly against a blitz. This is a team in Baylor this week that loves to blitz safeties and corners. And we better be ready for it and have hot receivers, have protection calls that are giving him time in the pocket. He's running with the ball way too much. Fortunately for Arizona State, he's a great runner. I mean, he's fast, he's quick, his instincts are off the charts. So if we can get the mental part of it down to the point that he's going to those quick little easy receivers on first and second down, taking what the defense gives him, and he'll do that. It's just his second year of playing football at the college level. So he's going to just do nothing but get better. And yeah, Sam Levitt is going to be a great quarterback playing on Sunday someday.
Danny White, you have said it all, man. It is so cool to visit with a legend like you. And I so appreciate the fact that you're still so close to the game and contributing on the level that you are at Arizona State. It's really cool. I didn't know about those Sunday meetings, and that gives me goosebumps, man. I always knew Kenny Dillingham was cool. I didn't know he was that cool. That's awesome.
He's a great coach. I tell you, he's got it all. He's got energy off the charts and a mind. He knows the analytics better than any coach I've ever been around. And he's not intimidated by me or by anybody else. You know, he's the guy, he knows it, and he's willing to actually sit down and listen to somebody like me and then actually process it and do something about it. And I love that about Kenny Dillingham, but the players just love playing for him. That's the biggest thing about it.
Danny White, Arizona State legend, Cowboys legend. We'll see you here in Waco. Safe travels. Thank you so much for this time. It means a lot.
Thanks, Peter. Anytime.
You got it. Danny White, the legend. How about that? I mean, that was pretty cool. I did not know. I mean, he always